Hey folks, how the hell are ya? I'm Houston.
And I'm Kaylen, and you're listening to Late Night Crime or Reason.
Late night.
Late nights.
Some nights I stay up. Cashing in my bad blood.
Stay up. Okay.
You can't say that'll get us demonetized, and we're not even monetized
Oh
yet.
gosh.
Howdy ho, everybody.
Welcome to our episode. My episode.
Jinkies.
Ruby-roo.
Okay, so it is way later than we generally start recording. I would like to say we are typically done by 10 o'clock.
Yes.
It is 11:20.
And nothing good happens between Kaylen and Houston at 11:20.
Nothing good happens
later.
between Kaylen and Houston ever, much less at 11:20. So we are giggly. We are slap happy. Kaylen stinks. Because
Rude.
I don't think she's bathed in 2022 so far.
Wow.
So, just kidding. She took a shower last week, so she doesn't stink that bad.
You mean last month.
Do what? Last month. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, no. Kaylen showers regularly.
On the daily.
On the daily.
Nightly.
On the nightly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're a nighttime shower.
I am.
I'm a daytime shower.
Yep, I know.
I like to shower in the morning because it gets me raring to go for the day.
Refreshed.
But I've recently started taking 2 showers a day because I just like to be clean as soon as I go to bed, and I like to be clean as soon as I get out from bed.
So, love the clean.
But
What a tangent.
Now that I'm working from home, I have a shit up to work without showering. But I took a
Spicy boy.
Yeah. But I did take a shower on my lunch break because
Awkward.
yeah, well, I have a shower at work, which is my home. So
Well, you all, we are doing a more fun episode.
Are we?
Kind of. I mean, there's a little true crime in here. I got a little bit of a ghost story with it. Some things happened and I couldn't find my ghost story, so I'm going to have to pull them from my memory, but...
Kaylen says it's a fun episode. So I guess I'll have to trust her, but she has steered me wrong before.
Probably in a car. Probably through Blooming Onion.
Probably through Blooming Onion. We had a atrocious time going through Bloomington, Indiana one time.
It was rough. It was rough. I was driving.
She was, and we were about 2 hours behind, so we were speeding.
With the roundabouts.
There were roundabouts everywhere.
And the potholes.
We don't have a lot of roundabouts in our area. We have a lot of one-ways, but roundabouts don't happen a lot, or traffic circles, whatever you call them.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when I lived in Bowling Green, there were quite a few.
Mm-hmm, but we have like 2 here in Owensboro.
Right.
Maybe.
But Bloomington had one in place of basically every stoplight ever. So we went through many roundabouts and almost ramped a roundabout or 2. So
nothing against the people of Bloomington, but Blooming Onion is a rough town to drive through.
it is, or it was at the time. We don't know. That's been years. But
And here we are on another tangent.
So, but Kaylen about killed us that day. But in Kaylen's defense, not in Kaylen's defense, maybe in Kaylen's defense.
It was a pretty tragic day, honestly. So
Yeah. Kaylen gets onto me a lot for one specific thing that I do when I drive. One very specific thing, and it drives Kaylen insane. When we used to go to the school, we would always have to get on a parkway.
And the
every
semis.
single time. And there's semis on a parkway, obviously. I do this thing where I get relatively close to a semi before I pass them.
Make me angry.
Because it kind of like helps whip me around, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm whipping around.
You're whipping them around is what you're doing.
No. But I don't get as close as Kaylen acts like I do. I probably get like a car and a half away, but Kaylen gets out from behind a semi when she's like 10 cars away.
Because you're supposed to stay as far behind the semi as you can see both of their mirrors.
I mean, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Did you? I've got great peripherals.
They don't.
I do. Don't worry, they're fine. But, yeah, so Kaylen used to panic.
We'll forever argue about it.
Yeah, because Kaylen makes it more dramatic. If you ask Kaylen, I clipped the back of the truck.
Don't I make everything more dramatic?
Yeah. That's why I tried to kill her a couple times.
Welcome to True Crime.
Where we commit the true crime. So, anyway, we are... You can tell we're tired because we talked about complete and utter bullshit for the first millennia.
Absolutely nothing.
So we're going to try to make it through this without going on a bunch of tangents. I make zero promises.
We'll get there.
Maybe you like the banter. Maybe you don't like the banter. Let us know. So, Kaylen, what do you have for us? I see that this is local. I see that this is something, it pertains something that I'm aware of, but I don't know if I know the meaning behind the story.
Right. I promise you I will get out of Kentucky at some point, but I'm definitely on one right now because we just had our yearly barbecue festival, is what we used to call it.
The barbecue fest is supreme. I love the barbecue fest.
I know, it's
incredible. One of those things because like surrounding counties, a lot of surrounding counties are very aware of the barbecue festival here.
Which with COVID, it's also became... There's a lot of people that used to come. Like, it was like so many people.
The entire, like, downtown of the city was blocked off, and there were just, like, and thousands and thousands and thousands of people
bumper to bumper traffic with people.
With our bodies.
Yeah. So, but this year it was called the Barbecue Block Party is what they called it this year, because they've downsized a lot, and they're not, like, doing as much right now with COVID. I think it's getting back to the point where they're going to have a big festival and it's going to be back to where it used to be. But the barbecue festival is like a bunch of people coming together, churches and all of our local barbecue places like Moonlight Barbecue and plug.
Plug. We love Moonlight.
We love Moonlight. We love Old Hickory. We love Old South. Like they're all just delicious. We have amazing barbecue here. Obviously, we have a festival devoted to it. So, if you don't know what burgoo is, you need to learn because it's delicious.
And if you've never been to the Barbecue Fest in Owensboro, Kentucky, keep your eyes out for it.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's in May.
So fun.
It's in May every year.
First weekend, basically. First Friday, Saturday in May.
Yeah.
But it's a big festival. It used to be a big festival, but right now it's just kind of gotten downsized because of COVID.
But it will get bigger.
It will go back. I do believe. I'm having some good faith right now that it will go back to what it used to be because it is so much fun. There's like carnival rides and just all kinds of like booths that people set up, and there's like our local Mellow Mushroom has a big beer garden. It's so much fun. There's this thing that happens, and I don't think it's been correlated other than in my brain.
So you were trying to explain this to me, and it kind of made sense to me because the times that I've been to the barbecue fest, what you're about to say is correct. So I'm intrigued by what you've gathered for this.
You all, there is this thing, and everybody, like I said, always talks about it, but we've never correlated it. I don't think I've had the hardest time researching anything about it. And I thought there used to be more about it, but every single year at the barbecue fest, it rains. It's rained this year. It's rained every year. I'm telling you all, the barbecue festival is cursed. And nobody has correlated it other than I think me. And maybe a few of my close friends because I don't know, I'm just weird, I guess. I correlate things that aren't supposed to be correlated together.
She's cocky and correlating.
Yeah, I guess. So anyway, every year it rains at the barbecue festival. And so what I believe is the reason is because the very last public execution in the entire United States was in Owensboro, Kentucky.
We love Kentucky.
And it may not be something to be proud of.
We're known for two things. The first serial killers to ever be documented in the United States, and the last public execution to ever be documented in the United States.
You missed out on the third thing, the barbecue festival.
And the methamphetamine.
That too.
We love meth.
Yep.
That's a joke. I don't. Drugs
are bad.
Yeah, I never loved meth. Except that one. No, I'm just kidding.
Again, welcome to our late night episode. Show.
Our late night episode. Show.
Like I said, the very last public execution in the U.S. was in Owensboro. It was where the barbecue fest is held, down by the riverfront. The man's name, who was the very last public execution, I'm being very emphasized on this, his name is Rainy Bethia. Did you get that? Rainy. The barbecue festival is cursed with rain.
I'm not trying to take this from Kaylen, but if that did not sound like the most dad joke of conspiracy theories that you ever heard.
Welcome to my life.
She said, and get this, his last name was...
first name.
Or his first name was, wait for it, Rainy.
Right. It was Rainy. Karen.
We're not making fun of the execution.
No.
We're making fun of Kaylen's execution of her episode.
Segue. So,
and now to hear from HelloFresh.
Oh my God. HelloFresh, want to sponsor us? Check us out.
I don't want to be sponsored by HelloFresh. That's just a joke. If you can sponsor us, HelloFresh, do it. But I think I'd want to be like sponsored by something real
BetterHelp.
I want BetterHelp to sponsor me mentally.
Mentally.
Yeah, but no, I want something like really crazy, like a Swedish meatball company.
Wow.
To be like,
that's intense.
We want you guys to sponsor our balls.
Our bowls.
Bowls
of meatballs.
Our balbos. Our vulva.
Ay. This took a turn. For the worst.
I took a turn and now I'm gay. Sorry.
Back to it. Back to your regular scheduled episode. So what I want to tell you all about is the execution throughout that time. Because again, I believe that the barbecue festival is cursed with rain because of the last public execution. So, into the execution.
Tell me about it, because I knew that. That's something that I know. It's like, what do you know about Owensboro, Kentucky? I know about the barbecue festival. I know about the last public execution. I know about Johnny Depp. Yep. Those are the things that I'm aware of. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have anything else special? 54.
We got a Chick-fil-A.
2 now, don't you?
Almost. And a
Chipotle's
coming.
And a Chipotle. You guys got a Panda recently.
We did.
Oh, I do love Panda.
That's so good. I'm trying to think of anything else special about Owensboro, because it's not really that special.
Right. No, there's a lot of gun violence.
A lot of trash.
A lot of... Caitlin's, she's all the trash.
A trash rat, if you would.
A trash can.
Let me think of what else is special about Owensboro. I'll think on that and I'll get back with you.
I'll look up what's special about Owensboro.
Please do.
While you finish the episode.
Okay.
You guys have a ridiculous amount of parks.
We do. Smothers Park. That's another special thing.
I love Smothers.
It's like rated like in the top 10 parks of the U.S. too.
You guys have enough parks that in like Davis County is bigger for our area, but not really. Actually, I don't even think it's bigger. Muhlenberg County is big. There's just nothing there.
Right.
So, like, it's probably, you guys just have, like, a big city in the middle of it. And I think most of Davis County is Owensboro. Mm-hmm. But
It's a lot of rural land.
We have a lot of rural land. You guys, I feel like it's a lot of city.
Well, we have, like, the city in the middle.
Outskirts,
and then on the outskirts, there's a lot of, like...
But it says that you guys offer 25 parks, which totals to 953 acres of land, which is equivalent to 720 football fields.
That's insane.
And then it talks about Smothers, which Smothers is stunning.
Incredible.
What I found. Parks and softball tournaments. On June
7th, the drunken Rainey broke into Lisha Edwards' home. Lisha was a 73-year-old woman who was completely defenseless against this strong 26-year-old man. So, trigger warning, Bethia went into this woman's home and he raped and strangled her, and he proceeded to steal some of her valuable rings. And he was caught because at some point he had taken off his black celluloid prison ring, so he had obviously previously been into some trouble. Now, while he was being transferred to Jefferson County Jail, he confessed everything to the police. So this was a open and shut case.
So, like, Jefferson County, like, Louisville?
Yes,
okay.
Louisville.
Okay, so all this happened in or in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
yes.
That's weird. I wonder why he was...
So listen.
Okay,
I'll explain.
We're going to learn why he was arrested in Jefferson.
Correct.
Okay.
In his description of the crime, he said that he didn't even know if she was alive when he raped her.
Oh.
Which is significant to the case because raping a corpse was not punishable by death at this time in the 1930s. Now, taking everything into account, the prosecutor decided to charge Bethia with the rape rather than the rape and the murder.
Right.
So this was relevant because under Kentucky law, if the death penalty was given for murder and robbery, it was to be conducted by electrocution in the closed doors of Eddyville State Penitentiary. So a rape conviction, however, was punishable by public hanging in the county where the crime was committed.
Okay.
So that's where we go. He goes to the Jefferson County Jail, but the crime is punished in the county where it was committed.
So it was committed in good old Davies County.
Yes.
It's Davis, not Davies.
That's Indiana.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's just like a big thing here.
Yeah.
It doesn't even look like Davis. Like
Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville.
Louisville.
What do you say Louisville, right?
Louisville.
Yeah, a lot of people say Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
I say it's like kind of, I think it's because of like where my family's from up north, I tend to get like a small like second syllable in there.
Louisville.
It's like Louisville.
Whereas I say Louisville.
Yeah, but where you guys are too, I know my like people from where I am, we don't say, I say Owensboro, but I don't even know if you say, do you completely enunciate it like that?
Owensboro?
Yeah, it's more borough. Where I'm from though, people are like, it's so extreme over there, and I'm sure it's not just like my county, but like a lot of people from my area pronounce like that. They say Owensboro, which is a 4-syllable word. They say it as Owensboro, like Owensboro. 2 syllables. Owensboro.
Borough.
Yeah.
The
Owensboro.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we don't like to enunciate in our parts.
We really
We do wear shoes though. A
We
lot
do.
of people don't think so. We're in Western Kentucky, so we wear shoes here. Just kidding. Sorry, Eastern Kentucky people. There is a bit of a rivalry there, though, because like it's so. I think it's because it's so like wooded and country, and I mean country like
they've got
like country
thick,
hills. I don't mean like their country, but I mean like it's like all like back country and like wooded area and mountains and so they on our side we're very industrious. We have a lot of like factories and plants and stuff of that nature. So like I think there's a disconnect probably about right after you hit Barron County. There's like a disconnect there where everybody's like, I feel like the eastern side of the state tend to think that we're highfalutin, if you will. We need to get off our high horse, right. While people on our side tend to think like Eastern Kentucky's given all of Kentucky a bad name, which right. I have a lot of friends on the east side of the state. And so
the biggest thing is too, like, they're not extremely southern, but the accents that come out of Eastern Kentucky.
Well, I think it's because like, so for us, we tend to get a lot of southern, but where our side of the state's smaller because we go into Paducah and everything kind of like drops down. We're connected to a lot of other, almost like countries, Jesus. We're connected to a lot of other states, a lot of which are northern. So like we're connected to like Ohio and we're in Indiana and Illinois. And so like all of my family's from Ohio, or like my grandparents and all of them are from Ohio and Chicago. So like I feel like on our side, we get an accent that is mixed of like Hoosiers and then like the good old southern accent from like Tennessee, where the east side of the state gets all of their accent from the southern part of the state and the Carolinas.
Right.
Bless their hearts. North Carolina has corrupted the accent on the east side of Kentucky, because I have friends that are over there and they're just, it's like cute.
It's such a
country.
twang.
Right. Because because like we're definitely more southern on our side, where it's more like, not in a bad way, it's more like hick over there. Like it has more of like a countrified accent as opposed to like a southern accent.
We are talking about dialects too, not personality.
Yeah, not people. So I've got some very developed friends on that side of the state. Like it's just, it's all stereotype. But I think it's funny that a lot of the Kentucky stereotypes exist, or like a lot of the Kentucky stereotypes are even thought by people who are in Kentucky on opposite sides. Like, it's just so funny to me. But we love the east side. The east side of the state is stunning. Like,
it's beautiful.
Like Cumberland Falls and all of that is just absolutely beautiful. Even
the
if
mountains.
Even if you go to Eastern, like for us, it was weird being in marching band, because performing at Eastern was intense because it's in the side of a mountain, basically.
Yeah.
But
it's like Moorhead.
Right. Yeah. But being there is beautiful. It's so fucking stunning on that side of the state. So
some good views.
We've got, I guess, the industrious, like we do have that going for us, but that side is just beautiful. It's like gorgeous. That's like the pretty parts of Kentucky you want to see. Over here it's all smog and black lung from the coal. Yeah, Muhlenberg. We love black lung in Muhlenberg County. So anyway, sorry, we went on a whole tangent.
We love the dialect. Me and Houston get into dialect conversations all the time. All the time.
I can talk about the English language for 64 years.
Yep.
Anyway, we're going now.
Yeah. As I was saying, a rape conviction is punishable by public hanging in the county where the crime was committed. Therefore, if they charged Bethia, which is Rainey, I guess I can call him Rainey.
Are you saying Bethia or Pythia? Bethia.
With a B.
Okay.
Bethia.
I thought you were saying like Pythia, the drag queen from Canada's Drag Race, and I was like, I love Pythia.
It's not in everywhere. So if they charged Bethia with rape, they were able to give him a harsher punishment.
Right.
And also, again, the public execution.
Yeah.
So if he was charged with rape and murder, he would be behind closed doors in the electrocution chair.
The electric chair?
The electric chair.
I think electrocution's chair is probably fine, but we refer to it as electric chair.
Right.
Did you know in Muhlenberg County, if you go into our courthouse, I don't know if it's still there, but I remember, because I haven't been into our courthouse in forever, but growing up, they probably took it out. They would have had to. That's very poor taste. But growing up, I kid you not, in my county, if you walked into one of our two courthouses that are side by side, the old historic courthouse, they had an electric chair in there. Like legit electric chair that was like displayed. Like reminding us not to fuck up, I guess. Like, I don't know. Insane. But yeah, like I've seen legit electric chair that killed actual people in front of my own eyes, and that's probably the reason why I grew up to not believe in the death penalty. So because I was traumatized as a child.
So in this trial, the defense didn't call any witnesses or cross-examine those presented by the prosecution. So the jury sentenced Bethia to the
sentenced him to
So, the jury sentenced Bethia to death by hanging. This public execution was also very prominent because at the time the Davis County Sheriff was a woman named Florence Thompson.
What time was this?
This was the 1930s. Yeah.
Can we get a round of applause for Florence Thompson?
The first woman
Miss Sheriff
to perform a public execution.
Ooh, love her.
Which she doesn't technically, but we'll get into it.
Right.
Now, Florence Thompson had inherited this position from her late husband, who was the previous sheriff. I think he passed away of he had pneumonia, and it was really sudden, so it was awful for her. So again, she was the one who was supposed to perform the hanging. Another officer named Arthur Hash sent Florence a letter saying that he would perform the hanging if she preferred not to. So she kind of had a way out for it. So she quickly accepted that offer, but...
Same, Florence.
But on the day of the hanging, Hash showed up drunk.
So Florence had to do it.
Well, kind of. So on August 14th, 1936...
This is going to end really badly, isn't it? This is going to make me ill. Like something went awry during what should
No.
It's like one of, like, back in the day when they used to, like, chop off heads and sometimes they wouldn't get all the way through the head kind of situation.
Well, it usually takes about 10 minutes for a hanging to fully process through, so it's actually really awful. Which is why we stopped doing public
Right, because
hangings.
you couldn't promise that the neck would snap. And if the neck doesn't snap, it's...
A long death.
Yeah.
A long death. So, on August 14th, 1936, over 20,000 people showed up to the hanging. Most of them from out of town. So, like, reporters and photographers from as far as, like, New York came down to witness and report on the hanging.
Mm-hmm.
There were several reports that the crowd was unruly and wild, which a lot of the first-hand accounts said wasn't exactly true, but the exaggerated events brought on ridicule to Owensboro, and that's why it was brought into consideration to fully rid of public executions. So there's many reasons, obviously, why they don't happen anymore, but This was a very significant one because they thought that the amount of things that happened that day were just not something that needed to happen again.
Yeah.
On March 12th...
I am so sorry. I just have to jump on here and say real quick, any of our listeners from home, good old Muhlenberg County or Greenville, I mean, well, not just Greenville, Muhlenberg County, because we all have the same court, please, for the love of God, leave somewhere on our social media if you remember the electric chair in the courthouse, because I am doing my damnedest to look it up, and I cannot find, like, a trace of evidence that it existed, but I remember it. I'm looking at it. I remember the plaque that was on it. So please make me feel better and keep me from thinking that I'm insane. I don't care what social media, girl, it could be TikTok. Like, just get TikTok. But just get on one of our social medias. Let's do this. If you remember, if you're from Muhlenberg and you remember it, put it either on our post on Facebook or our, like, for this episode, or our post on Instagram for this episode.
Yes.
And let me know if you remember, because I feel like I'm going insane now. So, help me out.
I've been feeling that way about this whole episode, because I can't find any of the stuff that I looked up whenever I was in, like, high school. So, now, again, the hanging happened on August 14th. He was pronounced dead about 10 minutes after... and it was just a big, huge, crazy event, apparently, according to some. So, on March 12th of 1938, the Kentucky Governor Chandler signed Senate Bill 69 into law. This bill repealed the requirement from Section 1137 that death sentences for the crime of rape be conducted by hanging in the county seat where the crime was committed. On a few different things that I saw, there were some who said that the hanging was racially motivated and that the 5 different times that Bethia had confessed that he was coerced into it. So there's a couple of little...
It is so crazy that you said that, because I was looking up the stuff about the electric chair to make sure, like, I wasn't crazy while also listening to you. And then saw something that said, after 75 years, last public hanging haunts Kentucky City. And I was like, what? And I looked at it and I was like, he's African American.
Yes. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Well, I mean, no, that was good because I saw that as you were telling me that. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I was able to, like, I spent that whole time not focusing on the fact that it was probably racially motivated. Mm-hmm. And then you hit me with it. Like, it surprised me more. Yeah. So I would agree, knowing Kentucky's history specifically, it was most likely racially motivated. Mm-hmm. I think I'd believe that.
But one way or the other, a 73-year-old grandma ended up dead.
Raped and murdered. Yeah, or murdered and raped.
Right. Murdered and then raped.
Right.
So
it's just so sad tragedy. Because you either have the scenario where, yes, this is the guy, but like the woman is still dead, or you have the situation where the woman is dead, had what happened to her. This man was, executed for a crime that he did not commit, which I feel like happens a lot, and then somebody got away with it. So,
which I also found in some sources that,
oh wow,
as Lisha Edwards,
right?
So
which
after they found out that they were both buried in the same graveyard, they ended up moving him, I do believe.
Gotcha.
So
maybe we can look up more research that talks about, like, it possibly being racially motivated,
We could look into it.
and we could link that up.
Yeah.
Like add some links to that,
Right.
or like to our social media or our show notes or something.
Right.
So people can read
Which
about.
I'm kind of grazing over this because really I was focusing on, I wanted it to be more of a lighter episode, and I wanted to focus on
Sorry,
things not
yeah.
Owensboro.
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
but-
we can definitely touch upon it again. If we,
or at least like address it in the show notes. We'll find some reading materials that talks about it potentially being racially motivated, and tag that, because I do think that's an important conversation.
Right. So, like I said, there were some mix-ups with the graveyard and like where he was and stuff like that. There was also another public execution that was scheduled after this one. It was in May of 2001, where a man named Timothy McVeigh was convicted for a bombing in Oklahoma City, and he was sentenced to die by lethal injection. He requested that his death be televised, and they were planning to oblige and have reporters to come in and actually televise him being executed. He called it a quote-unquote true public execution. However, they ended up rescheduling his date of execution because FBI officials acknowledged that they had not turned over thousands of documents to McVeigh's lawyers in the trial. So that made, officially, Owensboro was a mistrial, and Owensboro is the very last place that a public execution.
I'm so sorry. The fact that they were going to, I know that this is about Owensboro, but so this one's not related. But the fact that they were going to oblige to a man who was like, please, I want it televised.
Right.
First off, we done know that a lot of criminals do shit for clout. That's something that we're very aware of.
You just wanted the attention.
Like, you were not only going to give him that attention, but you were going to televise it. Also, children.
In 2001.
In 2001?
2001.
What the fuck? I was 9.
Yeah.
I thought you meant this was no,
not
I was
long
gonna be
ago.
like, do you know what in the 60s my mama who was 6 would have thought about? No, oh my god. 2001.
Right.
What? Who the fuck was behind that? Who was the president?
Who?
Who's gonna let that shit happen?
So this is all to say.
Sorry, I got real vulgar with that. My language was diggy there, but also I was shook.
Right. So, anyway, this is all to say, the barbecue festival is cursed. If anybody else has ever correlated this, give me a shout out, because I have been thinking this since, forever ago. I was like, why does it always rain at the barbecue festival? And I looked it up, and I was like, there it is.
Also,
it's cursed.
Comment on the post of this episode on Facebook, or the post about this episode on Instagram, whether or not you're from Owensboro and you've correlated that.
Right.
So we're really hometown in it here. We want to hear from our hometown peeps.
Now, moving on, I did.
Okay. Yes, Gabe's tower.
Yes. So I just want to make it about a little a hometown kind of thing, just a fun thing.
See, so. I know some about this because we have a friend, Shelby, and Shelby's mom or aunt or somebody used to live close there. I remember going with her to see somebody one time back in the day, and Gabe's Tower was shown right there before it was, because it's torn down now, yeah. Yes.
So, if you haven't caught what we're putting down, Gabe's Tower.
Sorry, I did not mean to ruin all of that.
It's good. So, Gabe's Tower, it was a building in Owensboro. It was demolished. I'll talk a little bit more about it. But so, Gabe's Tower was a incredible building.
It was pretty
in its day
eerie. It was like both.
Yeah, well,
it was a massive structure.
Yeah.
It was like a huge structure.
We're going to talk about that. It was a 13-story high-rise round building.
Yeah.
And at the time that it was built in November of 1962, it was considered the tallest building in Kentucky west of Louisville. So it was an incredible building. The structure of the building was very unique.
Imagine a drop zone, one of the drop zone rides, but in a tower form, that. I mean, it was huge. It was massive.
So it had, whenever it was built, it had both a 12th floor restaurant, which was Kentucky's first high-rise restaurant, and a rooftop swimming pool with a retractable roof. Did you know that?
How does that work?
Like the roof, like it like
just
opened up.
And then there was just a swimming pool there?
Well, no, the swimming pool was in the building.
Oh,
yeah, so it was
okay.
like on the top floor in the like. Have you ever looked at the old pictures of Gabe's tower?
Homie, I've seen Gabe's tower twice.
No, you have to see the pictures, the old pictures.
And that's the best that I've done. I've not seen it in its heyday. I saw it in its that's scary day. It's a spooky bit. It was a spooky bitch.
It was really spooky. It was like it had became like a shell. It had become a shell of a building more so.
Did you guys have like a lot of like?
That's the pool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the old like.
Yeah.
Cool stuff, but I can't find the old pictures. There's a entire page devoted to pictures of the Gabe's Tower in its prime.
Right.
So if you all are interested to go check it out, it's really cool. Like it was a beautiful hotel back in its day. Was there like a lot of after, I don't know when it shut down or like when it closed down. I think I've only ever remembered it being abandoned. Yes. I'll touch a little
It's
more
been
on
abandoned
that too.
like most of our life,
Most
right?
of our lives, yeah.
So, but did you guys have like criminal activity in it a lot? Like I know where we're from, like if a building ever gets abandoned, like a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but like there tends to be a lot of criminal activity in abandoned buildings where I'm from.
Right. Which I didn't do a whole lot of research on that because there's not a whole lot you can find other than the fact that Gabe's Tower is demolished now. It's gone. So I had a hard time researching this. And like I said, I did a lot of research back in high school about it. And there was a lot on there that is not there anymore.
Right.
And I'll touch on that later too. There were many reconstructions of the tower. In 1979 to 1983, it was actually used as a college. And then in 1991, it was converted back into a hotel, which at the time they called the Tower Motor Inn. And it is over by like...
You guys love colleges.
Yes.
Here in Owensboro.
Well, colleges named after Owensboro.
You guys, yeah. Well, you guys have Brescia. You guys have Wesleyan. Mm-hmm. You have OCTC, and then
WKUO.
Oh, that's right. You guys have like a branch. Mm-hmm. Do you know Muhlenberg County has a college? Is that not weird?
OCTC has actually two separate. One's a motor and welding and like stuff like that, and then
like
the other is like the vocational side. So we have the colleges here.
You guys do be having the colleges here.
So it was called the Tower Motor Inn. It remained vacant and went through multiple owners, and they had a lot of ideas for it, but none of them ever came into fruition. That's why it's been vacant for most of our lives, is because anything that they ever tried to do with it, it just never was able to be finished out.
Because Satan was like, this is my lair and you shall not pass.
Honestly.
Probably.
It was a very, like, I'll talk more about it, but when they brought it back into the Tower Motor Inn, like, some not so great things happened. And that's one of the reasons I'm interested in the tower, and that's why it's on here, is because there were some not so great things that happened that were criminal, and later on they ended up being very spooky. Into the crew crime.
Yes, the crew crime.
On September 5th, 1999, and again I'm going to kind of brush over the things that happened just because they're very dark. And it was kind of hard because some of the things that I found today were not the things that I found back in high school whenever I was really interested in Gabe's Tower. Like I was really into like what is going on with this place. So on September 5th, 1999, authorities say that Barry Lynn Havener, a 40-year-old, was arrested in the lobby of Gabe's Tower because he had beaten two boys with a toilet tank lid and a chair leg, and one of the boys died in the process.
Jesus.
It's gruesome.
So, like, this is real. Like, this actually happened.
This actually happened in the Tower Motor Inn, is what it was called then.
When was the, like, what time frame?
1999.
Yeah, so we would have, it would have been something that we, like, I would have seen on news.
Yeah.
Like,
our parents would probably remember it.
Like, I probably saw it on the news not knowing, because I would have, 99, I graduated kindergarten.
Yeah. Like I said, he had murdered one boy and the other was in critical condition. In like my recollection,
Your what?
in my recollection of research, like I said, whenever I was researching it intensely in high school, found that the boys were living with their mom in the hotel, and Havener, who was also like staying at the hotel and actually like a full-time resident, was the boys' babysitter. And he was watching them while their mom was cleaning a trailer for their family to move into. And this is when it happened, is when he was babysitting the boys for their mother.
Jesus.
Yeah. So like
do we
this is what I remember researching in high school.
Do you remember why he did it?
I'll talk about it a little bit. He had some mental issues where there was a lot going on. Now, according to the articles that I found in recent days, the two boys, which their names are Christopher and Brandon Hakola, they had a different babysitter, which they didn't name. And they didn't know Havener at all. Like, they hadn't ever met him. And he just came into their hotel room and murdered them. The boys' parents were... I want to talk a little bit about the kids. So, the boys' parents that had separated, and they spent a lot of their summers with their father in Harbor Creek, Pennsylvania. And then they spent the school year with their mom in Kentucky, currently at Gabe's Tower, whenever they were murdered. Havener's mother actually claimed that he was schizophrenic and he had a chemical imbalance, and she had tried to get him help for years. So there's two kind of separate stories here that like I said, it's from my memory for that one. On the first one, like I just remember seeing that he was babysitting them. And again, in the story that they told on like the actual report, it says that they didn't know each other at all.
Right.
But who was babysitting the boys? Because in the report, it's another babysitter for the boys who was talking about it, but they never said that she was there.
Right. Well, maybe
so there's some mix up there.
Maybe their babysitter was there and we just didn't.
Right. Maybe it was maybe they didn't know each other at all. Maybe
the kids were just playing.
Yeah. And it was a gruesome scene. It was awful.
So one of the children is still alive?
Yes.
How old were these kids?
They were, I feel like I had that somewhere. The oldest one was 8. Let me look at how...
So the oldest one is literally my age, or like a year older than me.
Okay, he was 10. The oldest one was 10.
Okay.
The youngest one was 8.
Okay, so the youngest one was like a year older than me. Like, I would have gone to high school with both of them. So they're very close to our age.
Right.
I don't know why, in my mind, because I knew vaguely of this story, kind of. I didn't know that there were brothers that were attacked. I knew that there was one kid that was killed by somebody, or murdered by somebody, but I don't know why. Like, I just don't have like a good recollection of the story in its entirety, but like I'd vaguely heard of it. But like I was thinking this was a while ago. I didn't realize like these kids literally, we would have gone to school together.
Exactly. So Christopher Acola was 10, and he was 10 when he passed, and then Brandon was 8.
So it was the older one that passed away.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about the...
I haven't found... I found a couple of things. We can touch upon it later, but there's been some reports about later years. But we can...
We'll add those to articles.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out later and post some stuff about it.
Maybe we can do like a follow-up episode where we talk about the racial motivation of the last public execution, and then the later life of Christopher, or
it would have been
Brandon's life afterwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do a follow-up.
Yeah, we'll do a follow-up for you all. So the authorities said that a maid found the boys in the room and immediately called for help. The maid said that after a while, whenever she returned to the room, she saw Havener trying to re-enter the room, and he had blood all over his hands, and when he saw her, he took off running. He was arrested in the hotel lobby.
Because where are you going to go? You're in a giant circular building.
Exactly, yeah.
That's 13 stories
high. Again, like I said, Christopher Acola passed from trauma to his head with a blunt force object. Luckily, Brandon survived. He was in critical condition for a little while, but he was able to pull through. But it's a tragedy that happened in that place, and that is one of the biggest reasons that it was not able to be made into anything.
Yeah, no, I imagine.
If something so terrible, like they've tried to do like another hotel in there. They've tried, they were making plans in like 2013, 2014 area, which is one of the reasons I started really researching it, is because I was in high school and I was like, what's going on with Gabe's Tower? Like, why can't they make it into anything?
But I mean, it is hard to come back from something like that. It
really is hard. And there were a couple of other instances that happened that I think were the reason that they weren't able to really do anything with it. But in my research back in high school, I did find some ghost stories, and I searched and searched and searched for these ghost stories, and I could not find them anywhere. But there was one that I remember specifically reading in high school because it like chilled me to my bone. They said that like I said, they had tried to open another hotel at Gabe's Tower, and this family had came in and they had stayed there. I don't know the names, but they said that the mom and dad, after they went to bed, they had their children with them, and the mom and dad, after they went to bed, they woke up to their child laughing and like having a good old time.
And this is why I wouldn't have kids, because if I woke up, I feel like I talk about eating children a lot.
Yeeting, not eating.
Yeah, yeeting. If I woke up and my kid was just laughing,
like giggling,
I'm yeeting that kid. like I can't. This is why Houston.
Throw the whole thing away.
This is why you gotta throw them away. Like, oh, you did that. Now I have to throw you away. Like,
So listen, this child, the parents woke up and this child was rolling a ball back and forth, but there was no other child there to roll the ball with.
Was it a real ball?
It was rolling back and forth. They were playing together.
I have yeeted my child again.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where
the reason I remember it specifically is because it chilled me. Like, I was like, no.
Right.
Because there's a little boy, a 10-year-old boy whose spirit probably stays there.
Right.
And he's just having a good old time.
So here's the thing. I do not want to discredit this. Mm-hmm. Disclaimer, not trying to discredit this ghost story. Mm-hmm. But also, however, the reason you might not be able to find that ghost story anymore is because that's a very common occurrence in the ghost world.
Gabe's Tower, like specifically, I'm telling you, I was researching Gabe's Tower. But it's something that happens often with children.
Right.
And,
what I'm saying is like, either this is a phenomenon that happens a lot, and if that's the case, there's a lot of ghostly kids playing like roll the ball.
Right.
But it's just something that I hear a lot, especially coming from Kentucky. Somebody could have just been like, they could have stolen that from Waverly Hills.
Right.
Because like Waverly Hills, like that's a big thing. Like you take a ball, you roll a ball down the corridor, and the ball rolls back out of the shadows.
Right. It was a recollection I had, and it was so scary to me because like there was a child that passed in that building, and they really did try to do more with it. It just wasn't something that they were able to accomplish.
Right.
It did, I don't know if I said it, but it was finally completely demolished in 2020, so it's fresh.
It was that recent?
It was that recent, yeah.
I feel like it's been demolished for like a good 5 years.
I know.
But no, that doesn't make sense, because I would have gone there with Shelby in 2017, because that would have been around Audubon.
And there were just eerie feelings around that place. Like anytime you were close to it, it was a creepy place.
Being on that street and like just like driving past it, or like just being on the street at somebody's house there and just like it ominously sitting over to the side. It was a long time. It was very creepy. I never saw it. I don't remember seeing it early in life. So, like, even, like, right after the murders would have happened, when it was still, like, a hotel or anything. Right. I don't ever remember seeing that. I don't think I've ever seen it not abandoned.
And I remember it being demolished. Like, I remember every single bit of it going down. Like, it was a scary building whenever they tore it down, too. Because, like, tearing it down to the very, like...
Well, it's in a populated area. Mm-hmm. Like, there's lots of houses there.
It's very busy. Well, there's businesses, and then there's, like... businesses, and then there's houses over
like
here.
yeah, like one side is very like business.
Where the old 8-ball was.
Yeah. So a lot of it's very, very like heavily business populated on one side, while the other one is like just like nothing but like a whole street of nothing but houses that are relatively close, like the kind of houses where you only have like 4 foot between like your outside walls. So,
but it was a big phenomenon like that I was super interested in high school whenever they were talking about redoing it and actually making it into something, and then throughout the years they ended up tearing it down completely.
I bet it has to do with a lot of crime activity.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of like graffiti on it, and it was gonna end up costing more to repair it than it was to just get rid of it and make it into, something else.
Right. Oh my God. I'm living. It makes me want to go back to Kentucky for something. I feel like we've done Kentucky so much, but maybe I'll do one on my old elementary school, like down the way.
If y'all are interested, look up some pictures of Gabe's Tower in Owensboro, Kentucky, and you can see it in its prime. You can see it when it started to be demolished. You can see all of the really cool pictures of the rooftop swimming pool. You can see some of the old like restaurants and like the colors of the color scheme that they had going back in the day. Like it's really cool. It's an interesting thing to research, but I'm having a hard time finding anything other than the fact that it's been demolished.
Right, and look up Owensboro, not Owensboro. If you look up Owensboro, that is not English, and you will not compute.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Owensboro.
There it is. You actually pronounced more the borough than you did Owens that time.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's one of those things where, like, I get why we say it, because Owensboro is a mouthful.
You should call it the borough.
The borough. I call
OBKY.
it OBKY, yeah.
OBKY.
That's very common around here, like OBKY, BG, BGKY. Like, we shorten everything.
KY's fun, though. Like, it's fun to put stuff.
Or Madville.
Madville.
Hoptown.
Mm-hmm.
Hoptown's not even a town. It's a ville. It's Hopkinsville. Hoptown.
Yeah.
We're not...
We're lazy.
We're
when it comes
so
to dialect.
lazy. We're not trying to
OBKY.
pronounce a single fucking syllable that we don't have to.
Right.
We shorten everything around here, but...
Well, I hope you all enjoyed my episode about the Curse of the Barbecue Fest and Gabe's Tower. It was lots of fun to bring back my old days whenever I'd research cool stuff.
The wonderful world of the borough.
The wonderful world of OBKY.
OBKY. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I like it because it's stuff that, like, obviously I knew about, but you really definitely shed some light on some things and showed me some other stuff. So that was exciting.
Yeah.
But
we can do a little recap episode later on to
and
dive into it a little more.
It won't have to be like a long recap either. Like, we could do probably a 15-minute episode, or we can make like a bigger episode and kind of make it like
hometown.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll do something, but yeah, I'm excited. So anyway,
thanks for listening.
Yeah, check us out on all of our social medias:
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok
at CrimeOrReason.
Send us an email at crimeorreason@gmail.com.
And hit us up with any suggestions, concerns, comments.
Yep, leave us a rating.
Please leave us a rating. Let us know if it was good, bad, ugly. Just let us know something.
How we're doing.
Yeah, we want to know. We want to make it better.
Yep.
So
y'all stay safe.
Y'all stay healthy.
And stay
criminal. Bye, everybody.
Bye.